Now call this meeting of the Veterans Advisory Committee of the City of Sebastian, Florida to order. All rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seats.
When did I shut you off?
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Newland.
Present.
Mr. Luigi.
Present.
Mr. Haskins.
Present.
Ms. Kinlan.
Present.
Mr. Giordano.
Present.
We have a quorum. We will continue with our business. Minutes of the last meeting have been sent out to the previous members, and I'm going to ask the new members to trust us that what's there is correct or would have been brought up. So I will accept a motion to accept the previous minutes.
I move that we accept the previous minutes from the last meeting.
Second?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes will be approved. Under old business, I'm going to ask that we have a continuation of the location of the museum. And for those that are new on the board, the museum that we're talking about belongs to Lynn Doobie, who has since passed away, and it's located in New England, and his wife is trying to determine the best way to get it down here and then find a location in the Sebastian area to put it up. So we've continued this as old business out of shall we say, memorial to Lynn, and since nothing has been done in concrete, we're going to continue this. Any opposed? Okay, so moved. Report on Memorial Day. Does anybody have? Oh, yes. There you go.
Okay, the Honor Guard did 4 events on Memorial Day. We did Fellsmere, and then we went on, we did the Orioles, we did the park, of course, and then we did the Italian American Club. So we did 4 events on Memorial Day, and of course, for most people in the military, that was a sad but wonderful day to honor our fellow veterans, which, as being a member of the Honor Guard, that's what I do with the post, and that's what we enjoy doing at the post. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand that the attendance at the Memorial Day was extraordinary, and people who attended both Vero Beach and Sebastian said that Sebastian had larger numbers. So we appreciate the city going out of its way to provide us with the security on the back street. That really makes a tremendous amount of difference. And the setup and so forth, that we know it's extra for you guys, but we do appreciate it, Mr. City Manager. Thank you.
And I think we should also specifically thank the Parks Department for the work that they do in getting it ready for us and putting everything up and then taking it down after it's over with. So thank them too, City Manager, if you will.
We do a number of ceremonies every year. I think it's noteworthy to point out that our people are always prepared, are always willing to go the extra mile to get things done. And I think we've evolved into a good plan with regard to traffic control and also the PA, and getting the folks moved in and out. So we look forward to many more ceremonies at the Veterans Memorial.
Talking about the PA system, I want to thank the police chief for stepping up at the last moment when the head went down during testing, and it made the difference between a well-received ceremony and a disappointing one when they were able to bring in their backup PA head. So we really appreciate that, and I've already conveyed to the chief how much we appreciate it.
We've replaced that unit, so we should be up and running with the backup for the next ceremony.
Good.
Also, Mr. City Manager, I think for years, I know the volunteers of the Sebastian Police Department have assisted in traffic control in all the major events, concluding Memorial Day, and thank them because they rarely hear about it, but we thank them for the work that they do.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'm going to go out of sequence here because Chief of Police of Sebastian is here, and I realize that she has a very busy schedule. We appreciate her being here, and if she would come forward, the VFW commander has a presentation he'd like to make.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Sorry I'm late. I went to the VFW.
I told her next door.
Your timing is perfect.
I think there's a little communication.
Okay, I told you second next door.
I'm here.
Okay, well, we had at the Post decided to make a presentation to your K-9 group. And we were informed that your K-9 group had their own fund and there wasn't no money needed to them. There was two different groups that we were going to give $300 to. The one group never bothered to call us back, so we decided, well, we'll give the $600 to the K-9 for Sebastian, which you didn't want the money. It's not that you didn't want the money, they didn't need the money for that. So I spoke to our people, and some of our members decided that just wasn't enough money for your own, wherever you want to put this money. We decided to make it $1,000 to give to you.
Wow.
On behalf of the Post 10210 and the Veterans of Foreign Wars, I would like to present you with a check. Let's see, it's in here somewhere. Oh, it's rubber. Sebastian Police Department for the amount of $1,000.
Well, thank you very much.
You know, I would just like to iterate. Whenever there's troubles down around the American Legion or the VFW, anywhere around here, your police department has been so excellent and right on time. A few weeks ago, my alarm went off. We still don't know why. Before I could get there, one of your officers right there, he'd already circled the building. He went through the entire building with me. You've been doing a great job as the chief of police, and we would like to let you know, you and all your members, if there's anything in the future that we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to call on us or ask us, because we are all, as much as you're there for us, we are there for you.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, all of you. You all do a lot for our community, and it is definitely appreciated by everyone. This money is going to actually go to, we have a newly formed community policing outreach program, and that's where the money's going to go. Matter of fact, Officer Jason Gillette is now heading that program, and you'll be seeing him and our outreach trailer at different communities, and we'd love to come to an event that you have at the VFW. We would certainly love to come.
First Wednesday of each month at 7 o'clock is our meetings.
Then
Anything you
we
have to
will-
say, please come and I will make sure you're heard.
We will be there, I assure you. So we'd love to participate, and thank you very much. We do appreciate it. And Barney, happy birthday.
It was our pleasure. It was our pleasure, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
To go back to what we were speaking before we had to do that, on over to the park there. I was speaking to a gentleman from the Rotary Club at the last event, and he realizes that our honor guard, if you look around at our honor guard, there's a lot of gentlemen that holds a little bit of age to them, and it gets harder and harder them standing out there in the sun all the time. He had mentioned to me that they had 2 very large tents that he would like to get with somebody, and before some of these Veterans Days or Memorial Days, and be able to set like one up where the honor guard would be able to turn around instead of standing in that sun, be able to get in and get a little bit of shade while we're waiting to put these programs on. I just wanted you to be aware of that. I forget I can't remember what his name was, but he would like to turn around and give us somebody, the gentleman with the Rotary Club. He said they would be glad to set them up, and I think that would be a great idea. Anything that we could help our honor guard to turn around and be a little more calm, because we all know the heat and how hot it is, and it's raining, whatever. And it would be nice if we could do something, or if the town could help in part of that. I would, as Commander Vida, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
I have a contact at the Rotary Club, but I'll make the call and I'll try to find out, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
And the fact that they're willing to set it up should make the city very happy. Okay. All righty. Continuing on in our agenda, report of the 4th of July festival. We opened the festival by having the honor guard lower and then properly raise the flag at the monument, and the Indian River Council, Veterans Council, supplied a bus that took the members of the honor guard from the American Legion down to the park, and then proceeded to the beginning of the parade site.
Mr. Chairman, on reference to the bus, may I say a few words?
Yes.
I was in the bus that started in the parade, and we noticed that the music from the band was further back, so that as this parade, which it was very crowded, went down, there wasn't really patriotic music. So the Veterans Council brought it up before the bus committee, and they have agreed, and West Palm Beach has agreed, that they are going to put a recording with music in the front of the bus, so that when the bus is up there, military type of music or celebration type of American music will be played on it. And that has been passed.
Yes, that.
Oh, during the parade, Councilwoman, it was a problem that there wasn't marching music in the front because the band was further back, which is understandable. So what we decided on the bus, we did have a PA system, but we didn't have it made up for music. And we talked after our first meeting of the Veterans Council after that event, we talked to the proper people, and we've agreed to go ahead and put a music playing unit into the bus so that when it's up where it is, it will be able to play military type marching music, the type of thing that would be appropriate for that type of event.
All right. I understand that Vice Mayor has presented a letter of complaint about the lineup of the people in the parade, and she's here. Would you like to tell us what your complaint is?
Thank you. I've been at 13 4th of July parades now, 13. in a row. Pretty much up there, right at the front, sometimes marching with military units, with the VFW, sometimes once as the Grand Marshal, most of the time just assisting in getting that kickoff. Many times I'll wait and watch and just ride with other folks. Sometimes I ride with the city, like this year. But for 13 years, I have watched the front of the parade denigrate into this big argument. And instead of getting better, it gets worse. And this year, it was really offensive to me to watch what happened. So I wrote and documented the issue, and I'm hoping that it will never happen again. And I was just handed a letter from the Sons of the American Legion, Peter Puzo, past commander, his version of what happened at the beginning of the parade. He's talking about the honor guard and all of that. My discussion with the honor guard was with Andrew Westerfield. I think we all know him. Andy and I did have some conversation, and it was about the ROTC being up front. And I think there's room for you all to discuss whether non-active duty people walk with retirees and active duty personnel in the front of the parade. That's for you all to decide. Decision one, I said, Andy, if you said they could be here, they can be here. But I have fought very, very hard over the years to keep the sheriff's department out of that front line. I find it really amusing that this letter from it's not amusing at all. This is just an example of the problem, that the Sons of the American Legion think they're teaching me who goes first. I know who goes first. The honor guard goes first, and I have great respect for our honor guard. And I fought for the honor guard. I fought the sheriff's department with John Haskins one year. And they were good, big guys. I've told them they had to go they go behind. I'm on your side. So it's gravely offensive to me when these glitches and egos get in the way. This year, the VFW, who should be first by charter, they're the first organization. Honor Guard goes first, no doubt. By the way,
We have copies. We have copies.
Well, you don't have a copy. Do you have?
Yes.
Do you have a
We have a
copy
copy of your
Do you have a
4th
copy
of
of the
July
order of parade?
Yes.
Okay, you have the order of parade.
It's on the second page.
Second page.
Okay, good. All right. So there's no doubt that the honor guard, your honor guard, your honor guard goes first. I will fight for that every day.
Andre, I don't think that there's been any problem
Well,
with that.
did you read the
except
letter from the Sons of the American Legion that I was just handed? You want to hear a problem? You and I have a problem about this, Commander. Well, you're not, Commander.
Well, this is not the proper place to address that.
All right.
Andre.
But here's the proper place to discuss the order of parade. And that's what's at issue. And oh, by the way, this year, when I got there, the Grand Marshal was sitting off in the corner and would have been left there if I hadn't said, "What is she doing over there?" And I had to bring her up past everybody, you included, to get her up front. Now, the people who were choosing to be argumentative were the Veterans Council of Indian River County. Commander Haskins was there. I was fighting to get the VFW in proper line of order. Now, Mr. Newland, you were in the front. Nobody's going to argue. You could go first this year if you wanted. That's fine. But I was trying to get this guy, the VFW, where he belonged. That was the issue. And it didn't happen because people on the bus, an Air Force colonel, thought he could tell us in Sebastian who goes first and where. That's the issue, Commander. And there are some other issues about signing next year. Someone needs to sign liability statements. Thank you, Commander Haskins, for signing liability statements for your folks at the VFW who were in the parade. We require that, correct, sir? And that'll be required. So that was that other issue that we couldn't seem to get squared away. I was willing to really lean.
Okay, Andre, there's a few things that need to be brought out here so that context is fully understood. You tried to reach me at 4 times while I was at the convention of the American Legion in Orlando, out of town, to get that release signed that had previously been signed but didn't get turned in properly. Okay, now that's, they admit that it didn't get turned in on time. I attempted to reach you back in between classes and in between presentations that I was doing there at the convention, and my cell phone says that I tried to reach you 5 times and that you had called me 4 times. And I didn't hear back from you. I couldn't have been there to sign the release anyway. You tried to get a hold of Jerry Peeler to get it signed. Jerry Peeler was not authorized to sign it. He's past commander. He should have told you that at the time. And so we're not getting into a pissing contest on this thing.
Sir, I'm talking about order of-
There were
that's
some
not-
things that just didn't align this year. Now, I had been told that the paperwork had been filled out by the Honor Guard and sent on. So I went on to my convention thinking that everything was improper. Well, it didn't get sent on at a proper timing. So anyway.
Can we make a distinction here? Because I'm a member of the VFW Post 10-210 lifetime. I used to be a member of the American Legion, but that's not going to happen anymore. But those are 2 organizations, okay? They're organizations. The Honor Guard is a combination of the 2. It's not one or the other. It's a combination. So you keep
correct.
using the term Honor Guard. I'm talking about the Legion. I'm talking about the VFW. The VFW signed for all of their people. The Honor Guard signing something
I also
is
signed
not
for the Honor
Legion.
Guard. I also signed for the Honor Guard.
Yeah, actually, he signed for the Honor Guard. We added the Honor Guard. I was trying to make this work, Commander. I was trying to make this work.
Yes, you were. I'll give the credit due. Where's due?
And so I don't think it's appropriate to discuss that particular item here. I'll discuss that with you afterwards about what happened at the Legion. Because your last comment to me was, you already know what happened. Well, you never talked to me about it. So I'd like to discuss that later, not in public, okay?
Andrea, could I just say a couple things?
I can't hear you at all.
Speak up. You're on. Just speak up.
Is that better?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. First of all, I'm the vice commander filling in for the commander. He's away.
Okay.
Second of all, I understand your frustration, and I applaud you for letting us go off first, which we should. The nation's flag should always go off in a parade. Always.
I never
But
had.
but-
I never
but-
had.
But here's the
argument
frustration
with
that
that.
we have. We've had the Boys and Girls Club. We've had everybody try and get ahead of us in the parade. The 3 years I've been doing it, and I'm a new guy. I admit it. I'm a new guy, you know. But I'm a new guy. But I'm a combat veteran. So when I see somebody trying to circumvent our nation's flag in a parade that we're honoring people.
Sir, this is not about that line. I would probably have a fist fight with someone who tried to get in that honor guard line.
Right.
I would
But-
defend that, and no one has ever done that, other than the sheriff's department sometimes comes up and wants to weasel in. And this year, the ROTC group came up, and I said, what are they doing up here?
I had people on scooters ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were
I was 7 or 8 back.
Legion riders ahead of the.
Mr. Newland didn't even see our float.
I
He didn't even
wasn't-
know where we were.
I
We were
wasn't-
that far
I
back.
wasn't aware of where their
Okay.
float was or if they had one, quite honestly, but it was not my position to line up everybody in the parade either.
I'm sorry?
I said it wasn't my responsibility to line the people up in the parade.
Right, well, I'm bringing this complaint to you. Actually, the complaint is not about you, it's informing you that there was no one for the Legion that signed the people in. That's the only information on this sheet. So, you know, all this other stuff is extra. My complaint is with the Veterans Council of Indian River County. Please read this. And the bottom line says, I did not appreciate being yelled at by someone with no authority, especially when they were totally wrong. We owe the VFW an apology, and so does the Veterans Council.
Well, we realize that the Veterans Council doesn't have authority in this, and I will talk personally with the person who offended you.
Well, I think
I wasn't aware of it at the time. It was out of my hearing or out of my sight. I didn't know it happened. So
So will this council honor the order of parade?
Let me say one thing before you get into your proposition. ROTC normally follows what they're told to do. They're a bunch of young naval ROTC people. We've had very good relations with them. They were asked to go into position because of the fact that most of the gentlemen in the VFW and the American Legion who were carrying the flags were older, gentlemen of my age.
And that's fine.
They
The
were
decision
asked,
was
and
made
this,
to let
let me
them stay
finish,
there.
please. They were asked to be there to take the flag if it was necessary because we apparently did not have enough members of the Legion or the VFW that were in that area. So just on their behalf, they just did what they were told. Secondly, it's my understanding that the Lions Club is in charge of that operation. What, did you speak to them?
Yes.
And did
And,
you?
and the
why
people
did
that
you-
are in charge of the parade, the ultimate responsibility is sitting right there. That's why my letter was addressed to the city. But I'm here informing you all because you can help. And instead of being part of the problem, and instead of writing incendiary letters like this is ridiculous. This is totally out of line. But instead of doing that, you can help. And you can help with the honor guard in the front.
Madam Coy, could I interject some? Now, and I understand, Barney, where you're coming from. And as VFW, I had no problem. I know your age group, and I know they were there to help. That wasn't the problem. That wasn't the problem at all. I don't mind the ROTC turning and helping our honor guard. We'll do anything in the world to help our honor guard. But the problem became, there's guys with little scooters in front of my VFW. The American Legion decided that they were in front of the VFW. The American Legion does not go in front of them. I mean, yes, the honor guard does. Nobody goes in front of my VFW besides that honor guard. I tell you what, I've been
The
in
Grand
this-
Marshal. The Grand Marshal goes.
Yes, Grand Marshal. And I've been in this business a lot of years. And I've been through many estates. And I've ran many parades. Nobody goes besides your honor guard and your Grand Marshal goes in front of the VFW. That's your Veterans of Foreign Wars, people. That's the Veterans of Foreign Wars. Then your American Legion. And then your major part of your ROTCs or your other military groups, and then your sheriff's department. Andrew was telling you correct when one year here I think it was about 7 years ago. I tell you what, I almost literally got in a fist fight with a sheriff, and I tell you what,
I was
Andrew
there.
had to pull me away from him because I tell you, I was ready to knock him out. They were determined they was going to go in front of our flag, and
They were gonna be up
I'm not going to
with
repeat
you
what I
guys.
told them. I'm not going to repeat
Not
what
when
I
I'm
told them.
standing down there. They don't, and because I will argue that, and there was a police officer there. We're trying to make it better. I'm just here because it was disturbing, and this is even more disturbing.
Right,
that
and I'm
people
sitting here
wanna
as
continue the
a
fight, so-
representative of my Veterans of Foreign Wars post.
Okay.
And I work with anybody on any situation they want to go. But yes, there needs to be. It's very simple. Here's a sheet. You go here. You go here, and you go here.
This is the first time I've been doing these parades for 10 years. This is the first time I've ever seen an order of precedence in the parade. Now, it's always been understood that the honor guard was first. And then after that, it sometimes got into a bit of a pissing contest as to who was going to be behind them and so
Watch
forth
my
and so
language a
forth
little
and so
bit.
on.
You're on speaker.
And that's all right. We're on national TV too. So anyway, but this is the first time I've seen an order of parade, and I find it to be very interesting, frankly. The bus was where it was at was because it was carrying extra veterans for the honor guard to switch off if
I know
necessary.
we had, excuse me, I was just told, we were just right here and listened to Barney, and I believe Barney, and that's what they were told me too that day, and Andy said, we invited them and they're fill-in. They were, ROTC was there to fill in. There were plenty of kids up there. That bus, and then came the Gold Star Moms. Both are important. I'm not saying those groups are not important. I'm just saying what they did at the Sebastian Parade at the point, and it was too late to stop it because you all had left. The
Well,
American Legion had gone down the road. This is for future reference. That is a correct order of parade.
Well, I'm sorry that the VFW float got shuffled back. I have no idea who was responsible for that, if there was anybody.
Sir, I wrote I just gave you the
All
letter.
right.
Please, that's exactly.
All right, you've got, we see it
Commander
now, but
Haskins, is that
I've
what
never seen it
happened?
before.
Is
Okay,
that what happened?
I think we've hashed this enough.
I agree.
Thank you very much.
I'm done.
Joe, you had something you wanted to say?
Thank you, Andrew.
Well, I just, there are a lot of moving parts with this parade. When, before I became city manager, I vowed never get close to the front again when I had observed that because it was a total cluster. After I became city manager, one of the things I did, and this process starts in January. The meetings start in January for the 4th of July parade, festival. After I became city manager, I had the bright idea of let's get a uniformed policeman out there as the parade captain. So maybe someone will listen to someone in uniform. As it turns out, they don't. And it continues to be a cluster. This is the first year since I was city manager. I said, I can't go there. I've got a policeman, Steve Marcinick, who's over there, who's going to take control of that.
There was 3 of them there.
There you go. There were 3, and still it got messed up. We've tried that order of battle. You go here, the honor guard first, and then Grand Marshal. We've tried that. People cut in. I see the floats coming down Davis Street, and they cut in and inch people out. There are arguments there. Vice Mayor Coy is correct. This has happened year after year. And I take responsibility. This is our parade. We're the sponsor of this parade. The Lions Club tries to organize this, but frankly, I think we have to have a more assertive parade czar out there at the beginning of that parade who will be able to put his or her foot down and say, this is the order of battle. You don't cross the forward edge of the battle area without his or her consent. That's it.
Yes, Jerry, the black gentleman that you had there, that he was supposed to be, he turned around, I heard him time, he said, well, you go, no, we're supposed to go there. He said, okay.
Well,
It wasn't his fault.
That
It
might
wasn't
have
his
been.
fault. I'm not trying to put blame on him. There was 3 police officers up there, but they didn't know no order or anything, so there was no way, even though they were there, they had no idea of where anybody should be. Now, if they would have had a slip of paper, said the American Legion goes here, the VFW goes, then yes, maybe then they could have had some power. As it was, they were just standing there. They didn't have a clue of where anybody. So how could they help organize anything?
Well, for all the conflict there at the beginning, down the road, it looked good. But there was, and I've heard the stories.
Every year.
As I say, this process starts in January. And what Vice Mayor Coy was doing when trying to get a piece of paper signed a day or two prior to the parade was in an effort to help protect the city.
Yes, it was.
So I'm not saying this just because she's here. That was an honorable thing to do. We needed that. That had not been turned in.
Okay.
That we are going to keep and that's part of my administration. The folks who run that will keep a closer watch on that. But
Well,
a lot
you know,
of this, there is this separation of authority between the city and the Lions Club, and it gets messed up. I think
Okay.
the city has to assert itself more in this.
Joe, I think that having this order of parade and that we can share it with the various different groups that we have within the military, the veterans, that once they understand that, I think that's going to eliminate all the problems.
Well, Commander, having tried to take control of that with the Lions, they thought I was trying to be too military and too authoritarian in trying to dictate how this happens. But frankly, after seeing this for 4 years up front, well, longer than that, almost 10 years really, the whole time I've been here, I mean, and the parade has gotten bigger, and we just have to take more of a...
May I ask a favor?
Yes, sir.
When you start having your planning sessions for the 4th of July parade, would you include me?
Just you? Or
At least.
CFW and Legion? Or what?
Probably the commanders of both. And it might not even hurt to have the commander, the current commander of the honor guard there. That way, we should be able to eliminate this confusion. All right?
I'll make that happen. Yes, sir.
Please. Okay. Thank you.
Point of order, can we make a motion now, or is that, we have to wait for motions?
I don't think this requires a motion.
Well,
but,
I don't think, I would like to make a motion. I think it
okay,
does require a motion.
I'll entertain a motion. What is your motion?
What I feel, I make a motion, if this is the proper time to do it, that we advise the city and the people operating it that they have exactly what you outlined. In other words, have a planned program executed by individuals with authority. And that is, I think, is what's needed on it. That would be my motion.
I'll second that.
All right.
Aye.
Does everybody understand the motion?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Motion so accepted. Thank you. All right, moving on. Is there anything further anybody else wants to add to the 4th? I'm sorry.
I'd like to say something. The Honor Guard so far, to date, this year, has done 60 events or funerals, probably 54 funerals, and a total of 60 items. And it doesn't let up. It's gonna, I would say we're gonna get up to 80 this year. And let me say something. The VFW and the American Legion are all mixed in. We're all one, which is the way it should be. And I understand the frustration on both sides, because when I saw it, I couldn't believe what was going on in the parade. So I think your idea is a great idea. I think it's gonna resolve some problems. I hope so. You know, we have brothers and sisters at the Legion, brothers and sisters the VFW, and that's the way we need to act. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
How many people know what today is?
Well, no, wait a minute, this is, we're talking about 4th of July here.
Oh, it's on the
Okay.
4th of July?
No, let's hold that, all right? Okay. All right, since there isn't anything further on the 4th of July festival, we're going to move on. I don't see any public here to have a public input. Moving on to number 8, new business. September 11th ceremony, 9/11. What do we have set up for 9/11? Is there anything solid and concrete yet?
Nothing solid.
We will have it. Okay.
We'll have it worked out.
Okay. We'll put together the ceremony. We will have it, and it will be dignified. Okay. Same thing for Veterans Day. It's a definite go.
I can speak on that.
All right.
We will have a meeting with the city people and the Parks Department prior to the Veterans Day. We will also have a meeting of both commanders of the post to outline the speakers and the program. So that is in it. I also want to say that I've been in touch with the school board, and I will have a meeting with Mr. Randell to continue on the Veterans Day program that we have been putting on. In fact, we already have a Treasure Coast tied down for 2 days for the school on putting on the Veterans Day program on it. We also are working on our Americanism program that also fits in with the school program on it. So those have been taken care of. What we've done last year, we started a program in which we purchased some continental flags. For those of you who may not remember, the continental flag has 13 stars in it. And that is illegal to fly under any area. We have awarded certain schools, Sebastian Middle School being one of them, Sebastian Elementary being another one, with these flags for their participation in the Veterans Day programs. That's it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
There was a mistake. I apologize for the mistake on the agenda. They have Veterans Day November 10th. Veterans Day is November 11th.
11th, yes.
And Marine Corps birthday
Well,
is November 10th. So
We won't hold that against somebody making a clerical error. Thank you, sir.
Marine Corps birthday 10th, Veterans Day 11th.
Pearl Harbor Day, we will definitely have a go on it.
yes, sir.
And now, crowd counts at the events. We talked about this, I think, at the last meeting. Is there any reasonable way of getting a crowd count to try to figure out over a period of time whether we're maintaining our audience or increasing or decreasing? Or the feeling right now on my part is that we're increasing the numbers, and the people that attend have been telling me that they're increasing, but I have others who say that it's decreasing. And so I don't want to get into a fight on this, but it's a matter of curiosity.
I've been with these programs, the marches and these various events for 6, 8, 10 years, maybe more. I've been up here 23 years now, and I have seen nothing but an increase. The beaches have had to be increased. We talked about increasing the audio systems around, and this last 4th of July parade, I think, was one of the finest presentations of individuals that we've had in Sebastian in a long time. So I think you're correct. I don't
Well,
think
if you
Okay.
notice your bleachers and all your seats, when there's all kinds of seats there, that's one way to tell, it'd be totally impossible to get an accurate account. But you can judge. You know how many people your bleachers hold. You can basically, you know how many people's in each of your groups. You could talk to Barney, and Barney will tell you that he's noticed nothing but an increase. You talk to Dwayne down the road, and he says he's so sad that nobody showed up. It's what time people didn't get there. It's a very most of our fun is very, very hot. Sometimes it's raining. To get an accurate account is, I mean, you can surmise, but for us people that's there year after year, and up there around the podium areas, you can look out that crowd and you can tell if there's an increase or a decrease just by your own visual. But to get an accurate count, it would be almost totally impossible.
Joe, did you come up with any ideas at all, or did you have time to think about it?
I don't think that that's something that we would undertake, but be advised that if there was one person there, or if there was 1,000 people there, our employees would still have the same commitment of doing the right thing and getting things done.
Well, okay. Well, we appreciate that. It was just a matter of trying to be historically correct.
Let me add to the comment when we're talking about the podiums and the seats. They actually have now put seats across. They were putting seats in the past across at the park. We have people now who are on the side streets, which when we first started the programs 10 or 15 years ago when I came to it, they were just in the area where we just had a small amount. So even from the podium you may not be able to see, but along the sides of the street, behind in the back of the area, behind the podium, that has all had people in it.
Okay, well, we may assign one of our people to try to get a reasonable count. I think we can find a responsible officer in one of the VFW or the American Legion who can go around and count noses and try to give us an idea.
What do you do after you get to 10?
Well, we start with somebody else's hands. All righty, thank you. Member matters. You had something you wanted to bring up about Purple Heart.
Yes, this is a day that gets forgotten. Today is Purple Heart Day, a day we honor all of our veterans that have served in our wars, that has been wounded. Congress has never seen fit to honor them with a congressional day or anything else, and it's always bothered me. You know, you have your Memorial Days, you have these days, you have them days, you have Martin Luther King, you have Washington birthday, you have this one, that one. These are veterans that have lost their arms, lost their legs, lost their sight, been wounded, their families has been put through tragedy after tragedy. It's a day, and in the future, it's in some way or shape or form. Now, I held a service at our Veterans Post yesterday, and in speaking what you spoke before there, I had word of mouth and through our things there, I had 2 Purple Heart veterans show up. To me, that was the best thing in the world. It didn't matter to me if there was 60 Purple Heart veterans there or just those 2. I have a program here that I made up, and we had about 20 of our veterans there that listened to me give that little, let me call it sermon. When I was done, there wasn't a dry eye in the place in talking about our people that's been wounded. In the future, I'd like to see more people recognize Purple Heart Day, and if the city somewhere in their capacities could turn around and try to maybe an article in the paper, anything. I would like to see if the city could turn around and also join with us in recognizing our Purple Heart veterans that are out there. I know it would mean a lot to a lot of them. You don't hear anybody walking around telling you, well, I got shot over here, or I got, you don't hear that out of our veterans. But I tell you what, when somebody says thank you and they remember the day that they were wounded, it means all the world to them deep down in their heart. Thank you, sir.
All right. Barney, do you have anything, you had something you wanted to,
No, I think I've covered the school. I was talking basically about the school. We've covered most everything else. I do want to go along on the Purple Heart. The city of Vyrtle Beach has been pretty good, a lot better than we have here in Sebastian, on honoring those veterans who have done outstanding things for this nation. They just recently had a presentation with a congressman, of which one of the members of the Veterans Council was actually a POW during World War II and also had a very distinguished record. So I do think, and I do encourage Sebastian to look to honor our veterans maybe more in the Purple Heart area.
all righty, thank you. Anything from the auxiliary?
Yes, actually, I do have something to make you aware of. The American Legion Auxiliary State of Florida every year picks a charitable organization to sponsor for the following year. And this year for 2017-2018, we are sponsoring Canines for Veterans. It's a state organization that provides guide dogs and any kind of service dog for veterans. So we will be soliciting donations for that organization and holding some fundraisers to raise money for them. Also, this next Monday, a week from today, at the American Legion, there is a quarter auction for Dogs for Life, which also provides dogs for veterans, PTSD, any kind of veteran that needs a dog for a companionship or help. So those are going to be our causes for this year. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right. Anything from the Legion that you'd like to put in that we haven't covered already?
The building? Okay, we redid the building a bit, and we have completed work on the bathrooms, and came out good. We're working on the pantry, and we're going to move our office, and also there'll be a room for the honor guard. So we're in the midst of a lot of stuff. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, it's been a long time coming, Joe, and we appreciate the help of the city in getting us to where we are today. I have two things that I'd like to add in. Neither one of these are directly in Sebastian, but one of them has to do with Vietnam Veterans Service Day and Welcome Home. This is going to take place at the Veterans Memorial Center on Merritt Island on August 22nd, which is a Tuesday at 10 a.m. And they're honoring people who served in Vietnam. And if you bring your 214 with you to show proof, I understand that there is a commemorative medal that is being given out for that. So you might want to pass that on to people who are qualified. Yeah. The second thing I've got here has to do with the county, and that's our 211 program, where people can dial in and come up with a long list of appropriate health, mental health, disabilities, weight management, child abuse, and so forth and so on. And they are very good at 211 to get veterans the help that they need. So I just want to make sure that people are aware of that program. Joe, do you have anything that you'd like to add in at this time? Okay, does anybody else have anything that they'd like to add? I'll accept a motion for adjournment. A second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, meeting is adjourned.